Hey, John Gard here, working on a Kverneland Model B2 plow in the shop today. This was built in Norway and I believe imported and sold by Dacon, which was a short line farm equipment distributor around North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota. I have a 1972 catalog from them, and this plow is in that catalog. I've also found Kverneland plows with a Miller name on them, and that is Miller from St. Nazianz, Wisconsin, who went on to build self-propelled sprayers and now has been bought out by New Holland. This is a 4-bottom, 18-inch frame plow, and I bought it maybe 10 years ago and finally got around to trying it out last fall, and it was a total failure. So the first problem we had last fall was this reset spring. This reset system on this Kverneland plow is actually quite superior to American plows of the same vintage. This plow bottom assembly rotates about a point about right here, so that when this plow bottom hits a rock, it rotates the plow bottom back and up to clear the rock. On an American plow of the same vintage, they quite often pivot not far above the plow bottom, so that when it hits a rock and resets, the plow bottom rotates down, which now means the whole weight of the plow is resting on that point of that plowshare, and things can get broken quite easily. So the problem we had was these reset springs were not keeping the plow bottoms in the ground. And the ground was not particularly hard, so it was kind of baffling. And so when the plow bottoms were halfway up in the air, the Landside wasn't there to support the plow, and the plow wasn't pulling straight, and it was a genuine disaster. The first thing I did was adjust these adjusting bolts down to add more preload to the spring, and that helped, and the plow showed momentary signs of brilliance, but then we ran out of time last fall. So this fall I picked up helper leaves from Behringer in Ontario, Canada. Bottoms 2, 3, and 4 have 2 helper leaves added, and the front bottom has 3 helper leaves added because, I can't explain it, but the front bottom was worse at not keeping the plow on the ground, and so Elmer Behringer suggested adding a 3rd leaf to that, and he says that's what guys in Ontario, Canada typically do to their Kverneland plows. I then adjusted these adjusting bolts down as far as they'll go with my weak air wrench, and we'll see what happens. So the next problem we had last fall was Landside trouble. It always baffles me how much welding and rigging it takes to get a Moldboard plow going, but that's the way it is. I had preemptively welded on some junk onto the Landsides to take up this worn area of the Landside. But even then, we found that we had to plow 8 inches deep to keep the plow going straight, which told me this Landside needed to be further down in the furrow bottom to be able to support the plow. The problem was caused by these new points and shares that I put on. Because this new point was plowing quite a bit deeper than the old worn out points, it created quite a bit of area underneath here with no Landside to support the plow. So the answer is to make up a new Landside that I plan on welding on here. It'll be quite a bit bigger and sit quite a bit lower on here. It'll still be high enough yet though, so that as the point wears, the Landside won't ride the plow out of the ground. I plan on just welding this on here, which will bring the Landside out, because part of the problem could also be the fact that this new point and share are probably cutting out further in towards the Landside, and which would also make the plow pull crooked. Well, now that they're glued on, let's take her for a rip, eh? Well, it's not scouring, so it looks awful, but it pulls straight and the individual bottoms are staying down, so I call that a success. We're here checking out Master Plowman Edward Fett's Oliver 565 semi-mount plow to tell you a story about Landsides, particularly on a semi-mount plow. One hard and dry fall, Edward was plowing and the plow wouldn't stay in the ground, so we put all new shares on the plow. And then all of a sudden, the thing wouldn't pull straight. It would pull towards the unplowed ground. And what happened was his worn out shares and his Landsides were a matched combination. And once he put new shares on there that cut a little further towards the unplowed ground, then his Landsides were not supporting the plow anymore. So the simple fix was just to weld on some junk onto the Landsides to get that support back. Lots of people ask, where do I get Landsides for this plow or that plow? They're pretty simple pieces. You drill some holes and you can make them from scratch. Or if you don't care what it looks like, just weld some junk on, and old wore out throwaway lathes work perfect for that purpose. That's the video, folks. Thanks for watching.